But like, and people want they want a villain. Yes, you can sue someone in Canada, just so you know, Mr. ES, Mr. We people think that because they're online, you can't see who they are, and they can find you. So I can if it's worth it, I'll go to Canada. And yes, if I get the green light for a lawyer to sue this asshole for libel, and it's worth like I can afford it, and I get the green light, I'm going to sue for everything I can. I don't care, even if it's just inconvenience, like they can't pay a house bill and it means they might lose their fucking house. Good. You're a piece of fucking shit.
I found a true gem of the Destiny 2 community. This gem is so beautiful. I even consider him my personal therapist. It's something you don't see a lot of the time, and from time to time you really gotta appreciate someone who's doing God's work. Today we're gonna be talking about Mr. Gaming Counselor, a beautiful soul and great spirit. Now, before you click off this video, I want you to at least watch this section right here and try to stay with me. I almost cried watching this. It's so beautiful and magnificent. You might think Jesus is real.
Skill-based matchmaking, also known as SBMM. Ah yes, I do believe I remember Brian crying about it while playing Fortnite. He always blamed SBMM turning around into an episode of the Kardashians. I think he was implying it was fake and boring.
Wait, so SBMM ain't some kind of rash? Well, that would explain that awkward interaction I had with that one Twitch streamer named Shroud. He kept on yelling at me, telling me to stop rage baiting him. I was only trying to recommend a good doctor for his rash.
No, you dolt. Picture this. In multiplayer video games, like the one where you're inevitably embarrassing yourself, the system scans your skill level. Kills, deaths, win rate, how often you camp in a corner eating nachos mid-match, and then it pairs you with players of similar competence. So you, with your KD ratio of roadkill, get matched against other mouth breathers who couldn't hit the broadside of a barn if it was dipped in ranch dressing. Because fat ass, even among the dregs of society, there are relative gods. You're the village idiot playing against the town fool, who still owns a musket. SBMM ensures fair games. No more steamrolling toddlers.
Holy crap, Stewie, that makes sense. No wonder I can't bully noobs anymore. It's affirmative action for gamers. All right, time to climb the ranks. Watch me become a pro, or at least beat Fart Ninja.
I just wouldn't need to apologize now. I had to speed that up because I couldn't even watch it at normal speed. Well, that scandal is done with. This is not what we're covering today. I just found it amusing. I haven't actually seen any of his videos until I started looking into his channel. And today we're going to be reacting to this video right here. We need to talk the unhinged and vile behavior of parts of the Destiny 2 community. And I was kind of watching this on my feed live as it went down, and it's just a fun video.
All right, let's just jump straight into it.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just jump straight into it, my king.
I know some of you all are tired of the drama videos, but this isn't intended to be a drama video. This is a video that is actually incredibly serious. In fact, it's so serious that I'm not even going to try to monetize it because
Well, I have ad blockers, so it doesn't matter.
There's a growing issue, and I want to address it because it's not acceptable, and it shouldn't be acceptable by any means or standards.
Well, I'm going to pause it right there because the reasoning for this, he even posting that video, is because of something that's right behind me. If you can see what's right above my head, it's the dog Archie, or Artemis. I think that's the name of the actual dog. But I need to read a statement from the owner of Artemis. And the whole situation is kind of whack because of his lack of remorse in that sense. He assumes this is going to be the common trend because I want to at least give him one serious note before I start spewing and making fun of him, or, you know, at least telling him where he's being a little bit hypocritical. Because it kind of pissed me off. The whole reason I'm making this video is because I've been genuinely just pissed off at his lack of intelligence, as say. It feels like he doesn't understand why people keep disliking him, and it's probably because he comes out with hard takes that, you know, might not sound too appealing to some people. or that he get caught for doing something bad. For example, the first scandal was him cheating. Then he comes out and goes after everyone under the sun. And then blah blah blah. He keeps appearing every once in a while, and this one is kind of just, I'm going to talk about it once and just completely forget about it. Because I thought it was hilarious once, and then I looked more into it, and it's like, come on, man. You're supposed to be a therapist. Isn't that what it is? You gotta have some, according to him at least. Now, his whole online personality might be a little bit different. I don't know how different he is from his videos to real life. But when I usually consider someone being a therapist, they're usually very well spoken, and they understand the human psyche. The only thing this guy has gathered is being able to rage bait people enough for people to make a reaction, being blocked by everyone under the sun. Literally, he is the #1 op in the Destiny community, which is why I'm making this. I think everyone has reacted to something outrageous he has said, and it's not like, I haven't seen racist statements, just a little bit of like, why are you saying this? What's the point? What are you trying to make a statement of what, who can own dogs here? It will make sense eventually. If you've been caught up here to what's going on on the Twitter sphere, you should know. I haven't seen any of his videos except for the one I'm going to review today, and that's about it. Because honestly, I might think the same on my own, but personally, they're really hard to watch. Well, why don't we get him to read the statement of, what happened to Archie? Artemis. And see what he has to say about it. Because why don't you hear it from the main guy himself? The guy who knows best and knows all.
All this is feels bad. Like, damn, the good old boy is gone. You was a Make-A-Wish dog, but then you read the fine text. All this really important stuff. By the way, not discounting, this dog was used for a lot of good, which should make people more upset when you fucking find out how it died. It was shared with the Destiny community, confirmed that Artemis passed away after being shot when he ran off the family's property. The dog was shot. Hold on to that nugget, because this is a piece of information that's very important. It wasn't just some accident, because they would have just said it was. And people are out there sitting on their porch with a gun. I know logic, common sense is really hard for the Destiny community, but let's go into it. So I myself made a comment that really pissed people off. So let's start with it. I read the article. I have no empathy for shitty owners of pets, and we'll dive into the specifics of why here in a minute.
Now, the problem with the statement he just made is he didn't really read it, at least, so the video understood the context of what happened. But the problem is the owner came out and stated something else. And this one he did actually read in a separate video. I know, it's really fun trying to get info on these 30, 40-minute long videos of his. Sorry, I think they're like 20. But he doesn't really back down on his statements. The thing he does after he finds out what happened to the dog is then twisted towards that people lack empathy and they don't actually care about the dog.
It's not about the dog. It's because I say things that upset them. I call out their favorite company. That's all this is. They do not give a shit about the dog. That has nothing, and people are proving it. They do not give a shit about the dog.
People don't care about the dog, they only care about their billion-dollar company. It's probably the most ignorant line I just heard. I want to start it off with saying that people who play Destiny 2 criticize Bungie way more than you think, if that's your statement. People have been criticizing Bungie way more than ever in the last few weeks. People you are attacking and saying they're defending their favorite billion-dollar company are in fact criticizing their favorite billion-dollar company all the time, and probably more and more as time goes on. How the dog and a billion-dollar company correlates to each other is kind of only you. You made a sassy comment where you said that Bungie or that Sony is probably going to do the same thing to Archie as, what happened to Artemis. That's what people don't like. It's like, why are you saying that? That's just so distasteful when people are trying to mourn over the loss of Artemis. That's how I look at it, right? So you're putting a distasteful comment to try to rage bait people. And you being a therapist and having a degree in psychology, you should know that. When something bad happens, the worst you can do is light the match, especially when there's a lot of gasoline around. You know, people are not going to be happy about that. But at the same time, you definitely do. You want to, if you were a proper therapist, you would at least know how to respond with a good manner. That's the reason I consider them a lot of the time well-spoken, because they know how to treat a situation, they know how people react, they know how people respond. And you know when people feel frustrated. But the only thing you can link it back to is the fact that they want to defend their billion-dollar company. Now, I'm not going to put every single word he says in this video in this video, but I'm going to go over the segments up until he reaches the part where he reaches the article, and you know, the whole situation just twists on its head, and that's the funny part about that video. That's before we get into the actual sauce. Yeah, I know, it's going to be a long one today. But essentially, this guy has a cat, from what he has stated. He doesn't let it go outside, which is completely up to the owner. Now, the way I look at having a pet is not necessarily if you can keep it loose or if you keep it, you know, caged. I care about the animal's health. That's my number one priority. Usually what correlates to bad owners and, you know, is usually how well disciplined the animal might be or how healthy the animal might be. If you're killing your animal by giving it poor diet, no room to walk around, and essentially no exercise, you are a bad pet owner. That's my personal take. That's why a lot of people who have dogs need to constantly take their dogs for a walk if they can't let it walk freely. And I mean, usually the correlation is that you can let your cat run outside without any worries because it comes back anyway. And something that I thought about when I was upstairs just now was that exactly. People let their cats outside, and usually it's not a big deal. It depends on where you live, of course. Now, I don't have to worry about people eating the dogs and people eating the cats. I usually have to worry about cats getting hit at night whenever no one sees anything. Usually, that's not a big problem because there's not really a lot of cars driving around at nighttime, at least where I live. Maybe it's some drunk guy, that's about it. But besides that, there's not really a lot of car friction, which is why people can do that very confidently. I'm not encouraging drinking and driving. Please, for the God's sake, don't do that. But I don't have to worry about guns. I don't have to worry about predatory private property owners shooting animals outside of their property because why not? And most of every single place is fenced away from the road, meaning there is usually walls. The roads are enclosed from the actual properties and houses around the area, like a good infrastructure, you know, setting. You know, usually you want to avoid high-frequency roads away from where people are actively living. It's not very good signal, and also a lot of noise. Something that he did mention, I'm not going to put it in because it's just a long rant from him, is that he hit 2 dogs in his past, and that was because they were next to a highway. And it's like, okay, first of all, anyone knows that if you have animals next to a highway, that usually ends with death, especially if they walk on the highway. Highways are usually... There's usually a lot more friction on the road there than normal roads or streets. So I can see that, but I was more surprised that people have properties or houses next to the highway. Properties not as much, but houses next to a highway? I'll agree with him on that one. That's kind of stupidity on the owner's part if you don't have a proper fencing so the dog doesn't walk there. But he described that it was nighttime, he couldn't see anything, and there was trees around, and then suddenly the dog walked on the road and he hit it, right? At least that's one of them. The other one was kind of similar, and you know, the owners expected it. That's what he said. Just his statement. If you want to watch what he says, you can watch the videos yourself. You probably will know where to find him, but at least that's all I have to say about that. Now let's see what he thinks about shitty dog owners, because he likes to talk about that.
Especially this kind of dog. I have ran over 2 times, one in high school and one in college, the same fucking breed of dog. And so I have a little bias to dog owners and these kind of dogs not fucking doing their job at safekeeping the pets. I have no empathy for shitty dog owners, but the chances of all these shitty people just shooting dogs is very low. I have no empathy for bad dog owners. Again, I can be sad about the dog being dead, but the dog's dead. Like, being sad, there's nothing that's going to change that. Again, you people demand this empathy, but is it deserved? Oh man, I'm so sorry you lost your dog. But if this person didn't do their job, they want a villain. Like, thought was needed for a therapist counselor, but maybe the board has changed their qualification. Imagine telling someone who just lost their pet, yeah, I'm not gonna feel sorry for someone who doesn't fucking take care of their shit. But yeah, people are so upset you're running with no one ever asked. Kiddo, that's rich coming from you. That moral high ground seemed higher before the dead dog. Nah, finding out that they neglected to take care of the dog, I have no empathy for them. No point in feeling bad for the dog since it's gone. I'd be more interested in what led to the neighbors pulling the trigger. Most cases, usually a threat or a recurrent problem, but no one wants to talk about that. People live in this delusional mindset. They don't want to think critically. They don't want to think, you know what? There's a possibility that maybe they were just shitty dog owners. Who would have thunk? Anyways, rant over. We took the trash out. This is why you shouldn't listen to Twitter. It makes for good content, but that's about it. Hello. We're gonna stop the music because I don't want to. Yeah, I want to be somewhat respectful here. Hello. I usually don't follow up on situations like this because I don't want it to seem like I'm dragging it out or trying to get anything from it. However, I've seen a lot of questions across different platforms asking how and why Artemis was shot. And I feel it's my responsibility as its owner and as someone who knows how much he meant to this community to explain what happened. Respect. On January 22nd, I took Artemis out in the morning like I always do. I played with him and I made sure he was taken care of before I left to run errands. After I put him in his kennel and I left, but left, I got a call from my mother a couple hours saying he was in critical condition. His spine had been shattered by a .22 round. Artemis was a very sweet dog who got along with every person, every animal he ever interacted with. He was a highly trained and disciplined canine and would never hurt a single person or animal unless there was a direct and immediate threat to me or my family. All my neighbors loved him, and I always thought it was funny seeing them watch him run after his ball. One of my family members had let him out and was not watching him properly. Okay. Artemis loved to explore, which is why he always needed supervision and recall. Unfortunately, he ran off. This has happened before with the same family member. If my family member is the result of my dog dying, no. Sorry, we're not family no more. Especially, like, there's no shot that this happened and this person's like, no, it's all good. My dog ran out. No, this person would have surely said, don't do that again, please. He wandered to a neighboring property that is gated with a house about 100 meters from the gate. Artemis was shot while he was outside the gate at the bottom of the drive. The dog wasn't even in the neighborhood. That's illegal.
Yes. So maybe you shouldn't always be so hasty. I had read this before I started this video, by the way, so I kind of knew the full story before watching these. But yeah, the dog was shot. It wasn't really the owner's fault that the dog was shot. Most people love dogs. In fact, everyone I know would love to just pet a dog if they saw one. And especially since most people are well-trained their dogs, at least where I live. Then again, everyone aren't in the same living conditions as, you know, my neighborhood and my city and blah blah blah, right?
Like, it's one thing if this dog is invading your property or threatening your we've talked about this, threatening an animal, threatening family, something, or this is a constant problem. Those are usually protected by law, and you have a right to take down an animal. You're telling me this dog was just in the front of the house and someone fucking blew it the fuck away? Okay, 9 out of 10 times, especially depending on the location and where they're at, if this person, especially if they're in a city, most people aren't shooting dogs in the city. But if they are, it's for one of the main reasons. First off, if this dog has a ongoing issue of going and invading property, especially out in the countryside, private property, you can shoot whatever you want. In the US, it's illegal to shoot a dog merely for even on private property. You can only legally shoot a dog if you or other people are in immediate danger or serious bodily harm, or if the dog is attacking livestock. There are no other reasonable alternative.
Limo! That's what I'm gonna end the whole dog situation on. Now we're gonna actually get into the fucking video, bro. I can't believe this video is 21 minutes long already. This is gonna be where peak is at. Sorry, yeah, I know. We're actually getting into the video now. I don't know if I'm gonna go through the whole thing. It's 25 minutes long, by the way.
So let me just say one thing very clearly. You don't have to like me. You can hate me. You can make fun of me. You can talk about the way I look. Like, this is things that happen. But there's a line that people shouldn't cross. And we'll talk about those lines because people have crossed them and complained about lines that I've crossed, and yet they're very hypocritical. So let's start with what's the big problem?
I'm listening.
So,
please tell me.
This has been passed around, and I've never really acknowledged it because it wasn't a big deal. But now it's starting to be escalated again, and it's even going farther to the point where now I'm going to actually talk about it and call out these worthless human beings. So we have a post where this was back last year when there was drama going on where people were accusing me of cheating. Again, I've never cheated. No evidence of that. But people...
Well, I want to add on that. The evidence was that someone recovered your account and they cheated on your account, correct? I mean, DMG came out and said he has been banned, probably because of the awful things he have said, rather than actually cheating. But from what I understood, like, I haven't looked into this too much, but the reason I said cheating in the beginning of the video was because I heard that someone recovered his account and the recap cheated on his account, blah blah blah. It was selling, blah blah blah, selling something. I don't know the full story. I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. But if you want context, Nikki, she is 17 years old in this picture, and you know, they're going back and forth, and he says, any words if they cleaned the burn yet? You know, he's emphasizing on this. It's not really a big one, and really, if he realized his mistake, he would say, I'm really sorry for even bringing this up. It's disgusting for me to make that joke, especially now that I know what I've done, and I sincerely apologize. That would be the common way of thinking about it, I would imagine. But listen to what he says.
Or were trying to troll me or try and upset me, and so I would clap back. That's what I usually do, and it does piss people off, which is why they don't. One of the reasons they like me. The other reason is because I call out their billion-dollar company or the people that support their billion-dollar company. They don't like that. They get mad, and so they want to attack me. I'm going to defend myself and attack back. So we have instance where someone's making fun of big old belly, my big old belly. Okay, well, I'm going to clap back. So we have a post where I repost any word if they cleaned the burn yet. So we have Nikki here. And we have someone replying to the comment. The original comment was, this was during the time that the content creators and the community were at war with each other because content creators were trying to stick up for Bungie and blaming the community. and vice versa, right? And so this is an instance where someone's like, I need methods. If D2 dies, it's like so over. And someone says OnlyFans, which in turn, I replied by saying, any word if they cleaned the burn yet? Because anyone who knows exactly what I'm talking about knows I'm referencing the 70s show where Kelsey would scream.
No one's fucking old enough for that, bro. Hold up. I want to get to the bottom of this because I'm not too aware of what's going on here. I don't know when it was. Let me read this out. So, I don't know if he actually posted it. This perfectly shows that not only are they mentally ill, but they are now making slanderous comments. 1. That Twitter comment was a repost of a comment about a burn against them. 2. I didn't even know who that person was, nor that they were a minor and not some dude with a chick profile pic. You want to spread lies about Destiny? Do your thing. You start making slanders, lying statements like pedo about me, I will see what a lawyer has to say about legal options, especially if it spreads to my personal life. What did Nikki respond with? You dug through my profile to find a tweet, yet didn't see the agent. Okay, that's kind of... that's... Oh no. Wait.
Burn!
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let me see that. So, the only way you could find that was through that because it's a screenshot. Alright, let's see here. Nikki Yap's account, 18. It used to say 17 when this was going on. Never seen an account get hundreds of views per tweet, and most of the time have more quote tweets than likes. Oh no. Wow, yeah, 5,000... Not a single, at least I can't see the likes on this one. That's kind of tough. Yeah, no, I found the original picture. So, yeah, he just take it off the profile, meaning you had to scour for it. It's the same screenshot. And it states, I hate people on this app. You know, that's quite interesting. So, he goes through the profile, finds the screenshot, and then acts like, you know, he didn't do that. I wanna get to the bottom of it. So, can I honestly say this was a horrible experience? Had not swap enabled, not a single person would get this contest done. I ended with 7 loadouts for the final boss. There was a damage check, like Caretaker and War Priest. Then there was this contest mode.
An experience that I don't think I want to do again. I literally did contest mode with some of the sweatiest group I've ever played with, and they're essentially, to put it in perspective, I was just a body to being used to fill for damage and to fill like niche roles. Like I did some of the mechanics. Overall, they did like the more important stuff. And I was just
Wow. Oh wow.
there. Which kind of pisses me off the entire time. I felt like I was being
Oh no.
carried, because I'm a pretty capable guy, but like, yes, we finished the contest mode, we beat it. This team wanted to win for placement, like they wanted placement at a decent rate, which is the only, like, they were looking for the best person, and I have multiple day ones, flawless raids. They were wanting actually low man people, but I mean, they took what they could get.
I think this is good enough evidence of what happened. Okay, so I guess I've heard the wrong tale. That's pretty interesting. Well, that's where it all starts. And then, you know, yes. Tweet where it wasn't even bragging. It was literally just shitting on the raid and the experience. Funny how one evidence is tweet when you have made 2 video breakdowns on the situation in detail. Crazy how you keep proving my point that you are uninformed parrot talking misinformation months ago. Now you get back in your cage and you're embarrassing yourself with your ignorance. Right, because the strategy is that Mr. Gaming Counselor is never wrong. It's kind of what it is. I am Mr. Gaming Counselor, wash my belly, clean my belly. Funny enough, this is what I do when I'm taking a shower because that's generally required for people who have actual jobs. Shocker. You post more videos than me. That's impressive. Clean my belly, wash my belly. And then it's this, which he did find on the profile. Let's get back to it. Sorry, that was a long sidetrack.
That was the context of this. But this context is being warped and used and weaponized, and it's also minimalizing a wider issue just because people don't like me. And people are using this to say that I am some kind of pedophile, which there is no context in here where it says that apparently this is a 17-year-old, this person right here, which I don't think, my personal opinion is that kids or minors are underage. I mean, they're almost an adult at age 17, but they shouldn't be on until they're 18. That's my opinion, but I don't run these fucking websites. So whatever. I didn't know this, but it doesn't really change the fact that I'm not the one that told them to do an OnlyFans. I'm just making fun of them. And you could say, well, that's being an asshole, but nothing here implies pedophilia. And so we have people, let's call out the trash for what it is, the vile human beings. People are upset and really trying to attack me for me talking about the dog situation and me talking about my experiences with people. But here we have dog killer and bad at the game, pig struggle. Again, by the way, these people don't care about this dog. They don't. And we're going to showcase my point in a minute. They're going to absolutely showcase this point. Low-key a pedophile too, but he doesn't like addressing that one. Again, these are bold claims. This is they're accusing me of being a pedophile with no evidence at all. By the way, that is slander. And yes, you can take people to court for that.
Well, like, slander is the crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. Right. And yes, you can sue someone over slander. The problem is, where's the line between where they're making a false statement? No one's calling you a dog murderer, they're calling you a dog killer. Which is a very big difference between each other, by the way, if you don't know. A murderer means it's intentional, a killer means it necessarily not always is. The wording is pretty important. And, bad at game is not really slander either. You did play with someone who cheated your run, which clearly has been shown evidence of. And he said a low-key a pedophile. Now, this is the problem. A pedophile is technically someone who is attracted to a minor under 13 years old. That's the definition, kind of vaguely. So him him making a statement that's hinting towards a minor posting whatever, that would also be considering CP, which is highly illegal. Now, it's technically not the same thing, so I guess you have a point, but still fucking disturbing.
We'll get to that in a minute. Oh God, how much worse can it get? Normal and well-adjusted behavior. Again, here we go, spreading information. Scoured a 17-year-old's account to find a tweet. She said she would, and say she should do OnlyFans, which again, not true. All I said was any word if they cleared the burn, because it was an insult. That's all I said. And so, of course, I'm calling them out. And of course, we have the shithole
gaming in that Epstein arc. Hell yeah. Oh my god, that's kind of funny. What you do on that island, boy? What you do on that island?
Oh, saying the gaming is on the Epstein arc. By the way, you can make fun of Epstein. I think that's full game. He's a shitty, horrible human being. He's dead.
Wait, that means you're openly wait, that kind of counteracts what you just said though. People joke around with Epstein. That also means people joke around with pedophilia. Usually people, at least how I've perceived it, I can show you some awesome things that I have liked on my Twitter.
He's rotting in hell or some universe. Whatever. Piece of fucking shit. And the people who are in there, more information coming out about that. Well, that's a whole different video. But I hope that justice is served. That the people who deserve, let's be honest, it's our government. If anyone's actually guilty, they'll probably get away with it.
The more I watch this, I actually think he might be on meth. I'm not stating he is on meth because that would be slander, but he looks like he's on some stimulant. Now, why would I say that? It's because the way he speaks kind of bugs me a little bit. His constant twitching is another one. And look, I've seen people on Adderall. My brother has been on Adderall his whole life until he turned 18. He quit and the twitching stopped. And, you know, Adderall and meth is not very far away from each other. It definitely looks like he's on some stimulant or is extremely nervous. That could also be one. If he's extremely nervous, that could also lead to that. Or anxious, you know. There's definitely something that's going on there. Or it's something he was born with, or brain injury. I don't know. At least, I think he's on meth.
But to go and take the situation itself and make a joke out of it, like Epstein on that Epstein arc, insinuating that other people, children, are going to be harmed. Taking something that is serious and turning it into a joke, turning it into a throwaway insult.
I'm gonna keep it so real with you. This is where I'm starting to lose track. Everyone is aware that most of the time when someone is insinuating on Epstein or the P word, it's usually not towards being an actual one. You play like Epstein, you know, usually insinuates you're fucking annoying to play against. The problem is when people take those statements too seriously. Now, I didn't push this towards the industry standard, as you call it. It's what's normal. If you don't recognize this, you are living under a rock in that sense. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the next statement of this video pisses me off because he's trying to make this way more than it really should be. Literally, this could have ended if he just said, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, I didn't realize, and I'm horribly sorry for this. This is insensitive and it's really, really creepy." That would be the easy option, recognizing the problem. Instead, you're doubling down and saying it's the problem that people use the word pedophile when they shouldn't. People say the wrong things when they shouldn't. It's insinuating essentially on the fact that it's always other people's faults. People kind of have gotten used to that word. You probably have too, but you might not recognize it. Open any app. The first videos I usually see on Twitter when I open it is some Epstein Diddy video, some AI video. It's like, it's normal. And the call of the comms inside of PvP, especially inside of Destiny 2, is literally pedophile. That's what Void Hunters are known for. Maybe I started that back in when Lemonarch was meta. That's when I started calling Lemonarch users pedophiles. But of course, I never really meant it. It's the insinuation of the joke has kind of gone out of hand, and sure, I might have been a problem to it. But recognizing someone who's an actual pedophile is way more important than using the word as a slang, which is the case these days. You should know that. You're not going to be the white knight and protect literally everyone doing that. And that's why this next part pisses me off. Because having personally dealt with stuff like this, it's not very good to see. Because it feels like what he's doing is guilt trip and gaslight. Not necessarily gaslighting, but he's going to guilt trip. And I'm gonna probably not make this video too much longer because this really pisses me off.
First off, let's educate what the hell the disorder is, because people are fucking retards.
Stop. Why are we going over what a pedophilia is?
Did you know that estimate of 4,230K people aged 12 plus experience sexual violence each year in the U.S.? 54% in the U.S., over half of sexual violence victims are 18 to 34. From 2019 to 2013, there was 63K Child Protective Services substantiated or found strong evidence that 63K children a year were sexually abused. This is not a fucking joke.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of it. I have to re-record that whole section. I got a little bit too personal when I was originally watching this. And this is me not, this is post recording. I'm like editing. But my problem is when you're trying to point it as a number. Hey, this is how many kids who have been, blah blah blah, right? I don't really like using statistics as a way to defend yourself in any way, really. It's a behavior that should be treated very harshly. And that's the big problem. You're trying to make it seem like I didn't do anything wrong, and we don't need to be educated on what it is. This just feels like someone who is lecturing us because he thinks he's more intelligent than us. Most people understand that pedophilia is a really bad issue, especially where it's prevalent. Especially, there's a reason you can get, if you lost your case, for example, and you were found guilty. And no, I don't really think that's ever going to happen. But that means you could be put up on a registry. You know that, right? Because it's not pedophilia, but it's considered CP. CP is still horrible, or the suggestion of it. The way CIA gets you is they will, install CP on your phone, and then suddenly, wow, now you're guilty of this. Yeah, I don't like this part. It makes me uncomfortable to think about. I don't think anyone is defending it. Anyone is agreeing with that it's good. I don't think anyone has said that. You're taking this out of proportion and trying to educate people you think are stupider than you. That's essentially what you're doing, which is why I feel offended when I see this. Because you assume that people are stupider than you. Maybe it's my ego talking, but I don't like that at all. I'm sorry for that part. We'll get back into the video. But essentially, Mr. Gaming Counselor, let me explain something really simple to you. You can't lecture people on how people interact with each other online, especially if it's a normal way of interacting with people. And as much as anyone would like to not say that's true, but words are very normal these days, and like I explained earlier, it's just a common term at this point. It's a pop term. Sure, it's really bad, and you should be able to distinguish what's the difference between the two. But that should be pretty easy. The reason you said low-key a pedo is because you didn't actually state anything, but you made a weird hint towards something that was inappropriate. And that's where it goes. All you would need to do is apologize. That's it. I'm done with this video. I don't care anymore. This is turning into you're trying to make us feel bad for something that, that we are supposed to control, right? I don't control who gets abused, assaulted, who dies, whatever. It comes back to the same thing as the dog owner. You didn't know what was going on. You just blew it out of proportion and assumed the worst. And then you come out and hear what the actual statement is, and it completely goes against what you were spewing. And then you don't back down. You need to understand that you don't need to be so hasty with everything, and, try to have a civil conversation with someone. If you don't try to do that, people won't like you. It's that easy. You're making the therapist tag seem really unlikely. The only people I would consider you could be a therapist for are people with lower IQ than you, and that would mean that they would be mentally retarded. That's it. Anyway, I'll see you guys around.